She was a top skating star in Detroit, and now investigators wonder if her supporters played a role in a vicious attack. TV2 was the first in the country to report suspicions of a conspiracy in the assault of Nancy Kerrigan. Now the investigation has reached a new level. The FBI telling TV2 it is not just assisting the Detroit police anymore. The Bureau has found grounds to open its own investigation. TV2's Scott Lewis broke this story, and tonight he has learned more.
That's nice.
A teary-eyed Tonya Harding was greeted by fans as she arrived back home in Portland, ecstatic over her victory, but still looking ahead.
I'm really happy, but it won't be a true crown until I get my chance with Nancy, and that'll be Olympics, and let me tell you, I'm going to whip her butt.
Harding also talked about the attack on Nancy Kerrigan and downplayed the fact that she has been questioned by the FBI.
I mean, they talked to everybody, and they're doing, a thorough investigation to try and find the man who did it.
TV2 has learned that the FBI is focusing in part on this publication, the Tonya Harding Fan Club newsletter. The agent who questioned Harding reportedly had a copy in his hand and asked a lot of questions about it. Joe Heron is editor of the newsletter. He says the FBI might also be interested in him.
I don't think it would be any major focus, but I think perhaps they're just trying to figure out if I'm some wacko that would go back to Detroit and try and injure one of Tonya's competitors. Of course, I'm not. I wouldn't do anything like that.
Heron is a Vietnam veteran, a former Portland TV news reporter, and a close friend of Tonya Harding. He's now unemployed and shares an apartment with Harding's father in Portland. Heron claims a Portland newspaper columnist, Julie Vader, gave his name to Detroit police while she was here covering the competition. Vader once accused Heron of threatening her.
And she also made reference to articles in the newsletter, the Skater newsletter, which she said were slams against Kerrigan, against the figure skating establishment, and against the media.
Heron claims the skating establishment and the media have long been biased against Harding because she comes from a poor background. His latest newsletter has numerous references to favoritism for Kerrigan and bias against Harding.
She would skate at a level of excellence that would not be reflected in her marks. She would be uninvited to tournaments that she was perfectly qualified to be in so that other more favored people would not be upstaged.
Heron claims the world of figure skating is like a beauty pageant where people who criticize get retaliation. He says that's what's happened to Tonya Harding.
People can only endure this sort of thing for so long before finally having something to say, and now that something is said, all of a sudden people run to the police and say, well, you know, this must be the guy who attacked Nancy Kerrigan. Or at least check him out.
TV2 talked by phone today with Oregonian columnist Julie Vader. She says Heron made a threat against her because he was angry about a story she wrote. She says she didn't go to Detroit police. They came to her asking questions about Heron. And, Rich, that's when she told them about the alleged threat.
Yeah, Scott, another strange twist. You were telling me earlier today that Tonya Harding also has received a death threat.
It happened last November before a competition out in Oregon, and she dropped out of the competition. She said she received a threat over the phone, and police checked into it. They weren't able to trace the source of the threat or even confirm that it happened, which can be difficult with a telephone threat.
Yeah, well, we haven't heard the last, obviously. After our satellite interview, by the way, with Joe Heron today, he walked across the street to Portland FBI headquarters to ask agents why they're interested in his newsletter.
Our top story today, TV2 has learned there could be a major break soon in the investigation into that attack on Olympic figure skater Nancy Kerrigan. TV2 has confirmed investigators are looking into allegations that skater Tonya Harding's husband, along with her bodyguard, arranged that attack. Harding's husband, Jeff Galuli, told the Oregonian newspaper, quote, "I wouldn't do that. I have more faith in my wife than to bump off her competition." But TV2 has learned a Portland, Oregon minister told investigators he listened to a tape recording of Harding's husband, her bodyguard, and another person plotting to injure Kerrigan. The bodyguard, Sean Eric Eckerd, says, quote, "I would never get involved in anything like that. That would be jeopardizing my future, my career. I mean, that's not something I could do or allow." Now, there's no indication today that Harding herself knew anything about the attack. This is her response to the latest accusations.
No one controls my life but me. I mean, God already wrote it out for me as how it's going to be, but if there's something in there that I don't like, I'm going to change it. I just wish people would
would see that, you know, I'm out there trying just as much as everybody else is. And it's just really sad. It's sad that there's that kind of people out there.